The iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max are here, and Apple is making some big claims. Larger displays, a faster chip, and what they call a new era of artificial intelligence. But are these features going to revolutionize your everyday experience, or are they just nice to haves that won't really change much at all? I've been using the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max for a week, testing everything, and I'll be breaking down exactly what stands out, what falls short, and what might be a straight up gimmick. From the new camera control, don't call it a button, to the battery life promises, and even those delayed AI features. Let's jump in by starting with the displays. The iPhone 16 Pro comes with a 6.3-inch display, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max boasts a massive 6.9-inch screen, making it the largest display Apple has ever put on an iPhone. On paper, this sounds exciting, but here's the thing. In day-to-day use, the difference isn't as dramatic as you might expect. The display's increased size means more real estate for multitasking, gaming, and content consumption, but unless you're upgrading from a much smaller phone, you might not notice a huge difference. From my experience, the jump in screen size from last year's iPhone 15 Pros didn't fundamentally change how I use the phone. Whether I was scrolling through social media, watching videos, or replying to emails, the bigger screen felt more like a nice-to-have than a must-have feature. And like last year, the iPhone 16 Pro displays support up to 2000 nits in outdoor peak brightness, making it incredibly easy to see in direct sunlight. That's still a much appreciated feature, especially if you're often on your phone outdoors. The ProMotion display with its 120Hz refresh rate remains, which makes everything feel smooth and responsive, whether you're scrolling or playing games. But again, this isn't something new. It's something we've seen in previous Pro models. Now, one of the most talked about design changes is these thin borders, the thinnest borders ever on an iPhone. Apple managed to shave the bezel slightly, which does give the phone a more modern look. It's more of a subtle aesthetic upgrade, making the phone feel a bit sleeker when holding it or watching videos, but you'll probably only notice it when you're actively comparing it side by side to an older iPhone. Another thing to consider is how these larger screens affect everyday usability. The Pro Max in particular can feel a bit unwieldy for one-handed use. If you've got smaller hands or just prefer operating your phone with one hand, you may find the Pro Max just difficult to handle comfortably. It's fantastic for watching movies and gaming, but for daily tasks like texting or browsing, it might feel a bit oversized and you might prefer the standard Pro instead. Okay, next let's talk performance. The A18 Pro chip is Apple's latest and greatest, and it's designed specifically for the iPhone 16 Pro series. Apple claims it's the most powerful chip in any smartphone, featuring a 6-core CPU, a 6-core GPU, and a 16-core neural engine. So what does all that mean in real world use? The A18 Pro offers up to 15% faster CPU performance compared to last year's A17 Pro, along with a 20% faster GPU. For most users, this means everything from gaming to multitasking will feel snappy and smooth. I tested it with some high-end mobile games, and it handled them effortlessly with no noticeable lag or stutter. It's also a beast for tasks like video editing, especially when working with high-resolution 4K video or the new 4K 120 frame per second Dolby Vision format that this year's phones support. So if you're into mobile gaming or content creation, this chip is the one for you. Oh, and I thought this was cool. The A18 Pro even beats the Apple M1 chip on several Geekbench tests. But here's where things get more interesting. Apple Intelligence. This is a brand new feature that Apple is positioning as a major part of the iPhone's future. The A18 Pro chip was specifically designed to handle the computational demands of AI. After all, Apple is calling this year's iPhones the first built from the ground up for artificial intelligence, but, and this is important, these AI features won't be available at launch. Apple Intelligence is set to roll out in stages. When iOS 18.1 arrives in October, we'll see the first wave of features, but even then, it'll only be available in the US initially. Apple Intelligence will introduce tools like writing assistants, think proofreading, rewriting, and summarizing text across apps. There's also a new Siri upgrade, along with AI-powered notification summaries, which I love, photo editing with the cleanup feature, which works well in beta, and more intelligent content summaries in apps like Mail and Safari, as well as for notifications, and those are features that I personally have been liking a lot. Now, this all sounds promising, but the fact that it won't be available until weeks after the phone launches is just something to keep in mind. Then, in December, we're expecting iOS 18.2 to drop with some of the more fun tools, as Apple should be introducing Genmoji, a feature for creating custom emoji on the fly, and Image Playground, which is essentially an AI-powered cartoonish image generation tool. The iPhone will also get optional integration with ChatGPT, which could make it far more useful for complex tasks, and we might finally see the long-rumored personal context awareness where Siri understands and reacts to the data that's stored on your phone and shown on the screen. It's also worth noting that when it comes to iPhones, Apple Intelligence will initially only be available on the iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 16, and iPhone 16 Pro lines. Now, while all of this sounds exciting, the staggered rollout could be frustrating for early adopters. If you're buying the iPhone 16 Pro, hoping to get the full Apple Intelligence experience on day one, it's not happening and you're gonna have to wait a while. That said, the potential here is huge, as Apple is clearly betting big on artificial intelligence, and once these features fully launch, they could significantly change how we interact with our iPhone. At the moment though, we're left with a bit of a tease. The hardware is there, the chip is a powerhouse, but the real magic that Apple is promising won't arrive for a few more months. All right, next, one of the new standout features on the iPhone 16 Pro series is the camera control, don't call it a button. Positioned here on the side of the device, it's designed to give you quick access to the camera without having to mess with the touchscreen. Super convenient, but not without its quirks. And the concept is simple. Press the button and the camera opens instantly. It's great for those quick, spontaneous shots where you don't want to miss the moment. You don't have to unlock the phone or swipe through the interface, just press and you're ready to shoot. And if you're holding the phone in one hand, the button's placement feels pretty natural, at least if you're right-handed, making it easy to access without changing your grip. But where things get interesting is the new swipe functionality that Apple has built into the camera control. After a light press, you can swipe across the camera control to adjust various settings, things like zoom, exposure, and focus. I like this, but it doesn't feel as responsive or fluid as I'd hope. Sometimes it takes 2 swipes to get the adjustment I want, which can be frustrating, especially if you're trying to capture something quickly. I would have preferred if the swipes were more precise and registered on the first try, or if there was a way to customize how sensitive it was like you can do with a trackpad on your Mac, rather than having to do multiple swipes to get to where you want. That said, I'm sure the swipe-based control system will get better over time with software updates and learnings from user interactions, but at launch, it feels just a little rough around the edges. Now, for most users, the camera control will be a handy shortcut, and if you just want to use it as a camera launcher and camera shutter, you can easily do that without using it to navigate through the menus. It's a welcome addition, no doubt, and it frees up your action button to do something else besides launch the camera, which may be its biggest benefit right now. Apple will be adding a light press to focus feature very soon too, which is an obvious sign that the functionality here can be added to over time, fine-tuning this feature and making it more responsive. Now, in terms of the camera itself, the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max feature significant upgrades this year, with both models receiving improvements aimed at enhancing versatility and photo quality. Now, for starters, the Pro model in particular comes equipped with 3 new cameras this year: a 48 megapixel Fusion wide, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and the 5x tetraprism telephoto lens that was introduced on last year's iPhone 15 Pro Max. And the 16 Pro Max, on the other hand, gets 2 new cameras: the 48 megapixel Fusion wide and the 48 megapixel ultra wide, while maintaining the 5x telephoto from last year. Now, what does all this mean in real world use? The 48 megapixel Fusion wide camera is the main workhorse here. It captures a ton of detail, and Apple's computational photography helps deliver vibrant colors, sharpness, and overall image clarity. Whether you're shooting in low light, bright sunlight, or tricky mixed lighting, the wide camera is incredibly versatile. I tested it in a range of conditions, and the results were consistently impressive. Night mode has also seen some improvements with faster processing and less noise in darker settings. The 48 megapixel ultra wide camera provides an even wider perspective for those landscape shots, group photos, or any scenario where you want to fit more into the frame. With the higher resolution this year, the ultra wide captures more detail than previous generations, but I'll admit, this isn't the lens I've personally found myself using very often in the past. It's definitely great for certain types of photography, and now that it captures sharper photos, I think that'll change. All right, next let's talk about that 5x tetraprism telephoto lens. With the 120mm focal length, it allows you to get close to your subject without physically moving. It's perfect for capturing wildlife, sports, or any situation where you need that extra reach. The tetraprism design, which reflects light 4 times inside the lens, enables the longer focal length without the bulk that you typically see in telephoto lenses. It's a clever piece of engineering that lets you zoom in without sacrificing image quality. Now, one of the most interesting interesting new features this year is the spatial section in the camera app. So yeah, there's now a specific setting that allows you to shoot videos and photos in spatial mode, allowing you to capture immersive 3D content that can be viewed on the Apple Vision Pro. To take advantage of this, all you need to do is turn your phone sideways as the two top cameras work together to capture different perspectives for each eye. Right now, unless you own an Apple Vision Pro, the benefits of this are mostly future-proofing, but I highly recommend shooting special moments in spatial because watching them back on Vision Pro is just deeply moving, and it's something your future self will appreciate. Another welcome addition is the latest generation of photographic styles. You can now adjust things like skin undertones and colors to create a specific look while keeping everything else in the frame unaffected. This can be great if you like your photos to have a consistent, more personalized aesthetic. Apple's computational photography has always been strong in making your photos look good, but these new photographic styles give you a bit more creative control, and you can even undo these or change them after the fact, which you couldn't do before. So how do these new cameras stack up? Well, for professional photographers or those who rely heavily on their phone for content creation, guilty as charged, the upgrades are substantial. The higher resolution and zoom capabilities alone make the iPhone 16 Pro an appealing choice. But for the casual user who mainly takes photos for social media or personal use, the changes may feel more incremental, but not everyone needs that level of zoom on a daily basis, which is why I like the fact that this is also a banner year for the non-Pro iPhone 16 model. Check out my review on these to see what I mean. Overall, Apple continues to push the boundaries with its iPhone camera systems, offering tools that can deliver truly professional results in the right hand. But whether or not those changes are worth upgrading for depends on how serious you are about mobile photography. Now, before we dive into the Pro video features, a quick shout out to this video's sponsor, OWC. If you're using the iPhone 16 Pro for creating high quality videos, then you're gonna want some extra storage. The OWC Envoy Pro Mini is that perfect solution. It's a pocket-sized SSD with up to 2 terabytes of storage, allowing you to record those huge ProRes videos directly into the drive, freeing up your iPhone's storage space. It's got both USB-C and USB-A capability and supports speeds of up to 946 megabytes per second. Check out the link in the description to grab one for yourself. And once again, big thank you to OWC for sponsoring this video. Now, when it comes to smartphone video, the iPhone has long been the king, and the iPhone 16 Pro takes things even further this year with some impressive new video capabilities. The standout feature is that we're now able to shoot 4K at 120 frames per second in Dolby Vision. This is the highest resolution and frame rate combo ever offered on an iPhone, and it allows for incredible slow motion shots while maintaining crisp detail and vibrant color. If you're a videographer or a content creator, this opens up a lot of creative possibilities. One of the coolest aspects of shooting in 4K 120 is the flexibility it gives you during the editing process. In the Photos app, you can adjust the playback speed of your videos, creating smooth slow motion effects or speeding things up for a more dynamic feel. This is great for sports, action sequences, or really any situation where you just want to highlight specific moments in your footage. For the average user, these upgrades might feel more niche, but if you're serious about shooting high quality video on your iPhone, the iPhone 16 Pro's new video features are some of the best you'll find on any smartphone today. Apple is also stepping up its game in the audio department with the iPhone 16 Pro. This year, the iPhone is equipped with 4 studio quality microphones designed to capture sound with more clarity and detail than ever before. So whether you're recording video or making a voice memo or capturing audio for a project, the improved mics ensure that your recordings sound crisp and true to life. And one of the standout new features is the new audio mix option. Using machine learning, the iPhone can distinguish between background noises and voices, allowing you to isolate a speaker's voice from distracting sounds. This is especially useful for vlogging or interviews when you need to focus on the person speaking rather than the ambient noise around them. There are even different modes you can choose from. Check it out. All right, we're testing audio mix. I have no microphone on. There's a highway behind me. There's birds all over the place. This is the standard mode, so no change to the mix. All right, next, this is the in-frame mode. So it should be focusing in on my voice because I'm directly in the frame, and it should be, I'm assuming, ignoring all the birds and other cars that are around the area. All right, this is studio mode. This should be interesting because, again, I'm outdoors, there are birds chirping, and this mode is supposed to replicate being in a sound-dampened room, so no reverb, no echoing. I'm just curious how it's gonna work outside. All right, finally, this is cinematic mode. What this is supposed to do is take my voice and put it in the center channel while maintaining all the ambient noise around me, but moving that to the surround channel. So you can really hone in on my voice while maintaining the environment. And then one more time, just going back to standard, just so you can hear the difference. I didn't have a mic for any of these. This is just being picked up by the iPhone's new quad studio mic setup. Additionally, spatial audio is now captured by default when recording video. This immersive sound adds another layer of depth, making playback more engaging, whether you're listening on AirPods, a surround sound system, or your Apple Vision Pro. For those who prioritize audio quality in their videos, the iPhone 16 Pro offers some of the best tools yet. Next, one of the key areas where the iPhone 16 Pro series shines is battery life. Apple has made some notable improvements this year. For starters, the iPhone 16 Pro Max now offers 33 hours of video playback, which is a 14% increase over last year's iPhone 15 Pro Max. Audio playback has also jumped to 105 hours, which is an impressive boost of 10 hours over the 15 Pro Max. And when it comes to the iPhone 16 Pro, you're getting 27 hours of video playback, which is a 17% increase over the iPhone 15 Pro, with audio playback going up to 85 hours. In real-world use, I found that the battery life gains are noticeable. Whether you're streaming videos, gaming, or just going through your regular daily tasks, the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max last significantly longer than the previous models. For heavy users, this means you can confidently go through a full day of intense usage without worrying about needing a midday charge. And lighter users might even find that they can go nearly 2 days between charges, especially with the energy efficiency improvements made possible by the A18 on the Pro Max. Charging speeds have also been improved, particularly with MagSafe wireless charging. The new MagSafe charger now supports up to 25 watts, up from 15 watts in previous models, making wireless charging faster and more convenient than before. If you preferred wired charging, you'll be happy to know that the iPhone 16 Pro supports charging speeds of up to 45 watts, which means your phone can go from nearly dead to around 50% charge in under 30 minutes. Another improvement is how background tasks are handled while the phone is charging. Thanks to the extra power headroom during wired charging, the iPhone 16 Pro can continue running background tasks more efficiently without sacrificing charging speed. All in all, the battery and charging upgrades on the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max are substantial. Whether you're a power user or someone who just wants to make it through a long day without needing a charge, these improvements are among the most practical and appreciated upgrades in this year's models. After using these iPhone 16 Pro devices for a week, here's my honest take. For power users, content creators, or those who want the latest and greatest tech, the improvements like the larger displays, things that the faster A18 Pro chip allows, and enhanced camera system will be noticeable. The new cameras offer a creative edge, but for casual users, they might not be a must-have. If you're upgrading from the iPhone 15 Pro, the changes might not be enough to justify the price. Yes, the battery life is better. The A18 Pro chip is faster and more efficient, and there are some cool new camera features, but the jump will likely feel incremental. However, if you're holding on to something like an iPhone 13 Pro, the story changes as you'll be getting 3 generations worth of improvements. A larger and brighter display, the 48 megapixel camera system with Pro RAW support, significantly better battery life, much faster charging options, and add to that the advanced capabilities of the A18 chip, the upcoming Apple Intelligence, the action button, and the new camera control. Put all that together and you're looking at a phone that feels leaps ahead of where you were 2 or 3 years ago. For these users, the iPhone 16 Pro is going to feel like a significant upgrade. The staggered rollout of Apple Intelligence is still something to watch closely. Once it's fully realized, it could change how we interact with our phones on a daily basis, potentially making this device more powerful over time. We just don't know yet. That said, all in all, as it stands on its own, the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max are fantastic, and this year they really do feel like they're optimized for professionals. Oh, and in case you missed them, I also have reviews of the iPhone 16, the Apple Watch Series 10, and the AirPods 4 all here on the channel. So if you're interested in any of those, be sure to check them out. Thanks for watching as always, guys. I appreciate your support. I'm Andrew Webbers, and I will catch you in the next video.